Well, it's 5 o'clock, so we're going to get started. I wanted to start by thanking all of the parents and family members who are joining us live today. My name is Claire Boyd, and this year I have the privilege of serving as Oglethorpe Avenue Elementary School's local school governance team, that's LSGT, the co-chair. And so as a part of that, I get to help moderate this evening's conversation and just guide us through the questions that you all have provided to our school community. So for the past 5 years, I've been able to participate as a member of the OAES community. I have 2 learners at Oglethorpe, and we have really been impressed with the school community there, with the teachers, the families, and my kids have loved learning alongside of your children. I also have another student within Clark County who, as a part of her IEP, is served at another school. So we are thankful to be here tonight. I wanted to let you know that I'm a parent myself. I have a lot of questions, but I also know that the Oglethorpe community is a very strong one, and that those folks who are here will communicate to us tonight how hard they've been working to help us get ready for the school year. And just like you all who are joining us tonight, I have a lot of questions myself. And so I'm eager to hear the answers that they have for us, and also to get a glimpse into what maybe the questions are that we don't have answers to yet, but that we know they're working on. So without further delay, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Singh, and then we will jump right into our questions because we do have a hard stop at the end of the hour.
Good evening, Oglethorpe Avenue family members, community members, students if you are watching, staff if you are watching remotely. Welcome to our first ever town hall for this school year. And I'm understanding this is first ever for Oglethorpe. So I'm excited to be here with everyone this evening. We oftentimes ask ourselves a question that why do we do what we do every day? And simple answer is we do everything every single day for one purpose, and that is our children teaching and learning. If our eyes are always on that prize, we are doing something right. And I am here to share this with you, that we never take our eyes off of that final goal, where our students are learning and growing and becoming the productive citizens of our society, gaining independence for their future, and getting ready for real world. With that said, we have great plans. We have year after year, we have rolled out awesome learning experience for your children, but this year is a little different. We have embarked on a very unique journey of virtual learning, and nothing is hidden from you that because of pandemic, we are in the midst of so many unknowns. And here we are trying to figure out how to educate our young with all these factors which are beyond our control. I can tell you that our teachers are working very hard to put a plan in place to serve your children. Our district leaders are working very hard to put together a policy, procedure, and set of expectations for students, teachers, and district as a whole, so that our children are served well. Our staff is making sure that we have infrastructure ready for your children to learn and grow in it properly. As a principal of this school, I am here to tell you that we take our job very seriously, and I know that there are so many more questions than we have answered for as of today. District, school, teachers, we are all trying to figure out things what we can do to best serve your students. So here we are. We have requested you to submit some questions or whatever questions you have on your mind, and we have put together the answer at the best of our ability. And I am ready to take your question in a few minutes, but before we do that, I will welcome our panelists who have joined me this evening. and I will let them introduce themselves before we jump into our question and answer session. So go ahead and Dr. Emmert, get started, please.
Hey, good evening, Oglethorpe parents, staff, and community members, and most especially our students. My name is Dr. Scott Emmert, and I serve very, very gratefully as your assistant principal. Like Dr. Singh said, there are certainly going to be some questions that you'll have after this evening's presentation, and we're going to work very hard to make sure we have another opportunity for you to have those questions answered in the coming week. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you so much for your patience and your grace. This has been a time that's been very unique for us educators, as it's been for us as a father myself and as a family man myself. It's been difficult, as I know it has been for many of you guys, but I really appreciate your support and your positive collaboration and your solution-focused drive. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Katie Hanks. I'm a Clark County Special Education Coordinator, and I serve half of our elementary schools. I am glad to be here tonight to be able to answer some of the questions that you've submitted, and my email and contact information will be included at the end, so feel free to reach out to me. I serve all of the students at Oglethorpe, so the door is always open to answer your questions. I might not have the answer, but as Dr. Singh and Dr. Emmert have referenced, we are working diligently every day to make sure that we address all the needs for our students.
Hi, I'm Marilyn Murphy, instructional coach at Oglethorpe Avenue Elementary. I'm really excited to start year 22 at Oglethorpe Avenue. And so I look forward to working with teachers and students virtually at the onset of this year.
Hi, I'm Leanne Lindsay. I'm back at Oglethorpe this year to be Miss Murphy's sidekick so that I can be the math coach for teachers to help them and the students.
Good evening. My name is Jessie Garcia. I am one of the 2 first grade DLI teachers, and I am the DLI team lead for our program that runs pre-K through 4th grade. And I'm really happy to be here tonight and hopefully answer a lot of questions that you may have.
Hi, I'm Kim Russell. I'm a 3rd grade teacher. This is my 10th year being at Oglethorpe Avenue Elementary. It's my 20th year in education. So I'm happy to finally get to reach out to some parents, and I'm really looking forward to having our open house tomorrow and get to see some faces.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Christina Katsakis Cordone. Your students might know me as Miss Cece, and I'm the school counselor. I am really excited to go through this journey with you all. Many of you know that Oglethorpe is the school that made me want to become a school counselor in the first place. So I'm excited to be here for my 3rd year. And I'm looking forward to finding new ways to connect this year with each of our students and families.
Hello, I'm Jillian Hall. I'm the lead gifted teacher at Oglethorpe, and I'm one of 5 support staff gifted teachers at Oglethorpe. And this is my 9th year working with gifted students and my 20th year teaching. And I'm very excited to start on this new journey we're all in together.
Hello, I'm Mr. Tellis R. Thompson. I am the behavior interventionist and support for Oglethorpe Avenue Elementary School, and I'm excited to support your kids in each and every way I most possibly can. So y'all just sit tight. We got you.
Good evening, I'm Sarah Olertz. I'm known as to your kids as Nurse O. Hopefully I can answer some questions, and if not, I can always give my email, and I'm always available in the clinic if need be.
Wonderful. Thank you to all of our panelists who are joining us. Our first question is for you, Dr. Singh. What will school look like September 8th? Oh, and you're muted. Won't be the first time we say it tonight. I'm glad you were able to be the first one to get it done.
Yes, and I was saying that what a question. First question is, what will the school look like on September 8th? Nothing about this school year is normal. Teachers are one of those human beings who love children, who wants to be there when children are crying, give them comfort when they are upset, and provide them very nurturing environment of teaching and learning. And in this time and age where we are operating virtually from a distance, we know that our children have the same needs and more, but we will physically not be able to give them a hug to comfort them. So that's why I said that there's nothing about the school year is normal. But one thing I can tell you, it's still normal. It's our desire to give students the best educational experience they can get. So when we talk about this school year, our intention from very beginning has been providing students to a greater extent normalcy in their life, because their life is right now in an interesting chaos. What we are trying to achieve here is give them routine, everyday consistent expectation. Teachers are giving them instruction, what they need to learn and grow. So with that intention, the school year will start on September 8th with a full day schedule, which we will talk in future, but I want you to know that our teachers have a plan to start the day just like every other day they would have started when children were in the building, and go through the instructional segment of the day and end the day with complete day worth of learning. There will be experiences for specials, there will be experiences for their recess and lunchtime built in, but we are intending to create a consistent and as normal as possible routine in our students' life.
Thank you. Dr. Emmerd, how long are the classes?
I love it. I get the short question. Follow that, Dr. Singh, right? So one of the things that we're trying to do is maintain some continuity between what a classroom situation looks like virtually and what it'll look like when kids are physically back in the building. But we also understand that kids can't be in front of a computer nonstop for 7-8 hours a day. That's not developmentally appropriate. That's not humanly appropriate, as I think most teachers and most people working can attest to at this time. So the short answer is the instructional day will go from 8:30 to 3 o'clock each day, but the actual segments of each class is pretty dependent on the grade level and how that instruction will look. So parents, I know that sounds a little bit like a non-answer, except for a long day. So you can look forward to tomorrow morning and throughout the day tomorrow when you have your virtual open house with your grade levels and your teachers. They'll walk you through what exactly your student schedule will look like, including breaks and how that instructional time will be structured.
Dr. Emmerd, as a follow-up question, what options are available for families who are unable to participate in school during the 8:30 to 3 o'clock window? Will students be able to make up that work later in the day?
So, you know, as I said in my introduction, this is definitely a time where as a school family, we've really embraced this concept of providing grace for as much as possible. We recognize that it's very difficult for a lot of families to be able to support the supervision of their children while they're engaged in online learning throughout the regular day. So to answer the question, yeah, the work it'll be possible to do the work at a later time. What we are going to ask though is that students maintain where all work is completed within 48 hours. And of course, we're going to have some flexibility when the situations deem that appropriate. But the idea is we really want kids to be engaged and stay on top of their learning. When kids get 2 or 3 days behind, it can be overwhelming for them to where they maybe not feel like they can catch up. And we don't want any kiddo to feel like they're falling behind. But the bottom line is, and I want everyone to hear this loud and clear, like we understand that there are some very difficult circumstances that people are negotiating with childcare, with work and trying to balance all those things. And as we respond to these environmental factors that we can't control, we will be offering grace as much as possible to students to make sure that they're learning. We're here to ensure their success, not to penalize them when they can't access the work.
Thank you for that. Dr. Singh, the next question is for you. Are you requiring teachers to be in the building? And does the school have any agency in making this decision? Do teachers?
That's a very good question, and I will share this with you. District has been very considerate of all the decisions they have made, and they have reached out to different stakeholder groups to get input from them in any decision they have made about staffing or student services. Requiring teachers to come to school building is basically rooted on one and simple philosophy, that school is a place where we have perfect internet service. We have a very good classroom environment where all the teacher resources are available. So with that in mind, and that's a distraction-free work environment. So with that in mind, yes, teachers were asked to come to school to conduct their virtual learning. However, just to share this with you, that our district has been absolutely cognizant of the reality that there are life circumstances people are dealing with where it causes hardship for them to be in the school building to conduct their virtual learning. And case by case basis, there are exceptions made for staff groups to work remotely. So in short, majority of staff members are in the building. That's where they're conducting their learning and teaching from, but we have exceptions made for them. As far as the second part of your question, did teachers have input in that? Yes, we have a teacher advisory board. They have provided input in decision making. District leaders are constantly meeting with teacher advisory board. District leaders are seeking input from the school reopening task force. So all these stakeholders have given their input in that decision making. And decisions are still constantly evolving. I want you to know that we have been cognizant, we are responding to what's happening in the medical world so that we are keeping our staff safe. We are keeping our student and community members safe. So all that is being considered in decision making.
Thank you. Ms. Murphy and Ms. Lindsay, this question is for you. How can we best support our dedicated professional educators during distance learning? Or how can I help support teachers?
Thank you. So first, thank you to our caring community for your offer of support. We really do appreciate it. And so the short answer is be patient, and please do not hesitate to reach out with kind words to your teaching and learning staff because they could really use them right now. Everybody's been working really hard. So another thing that parents and families can do is connect with your teaching staff via Dojo. That's easy access, two-way communication. It's easy for the teachers to communicate with you that way. So plugging that up, hooking that in would be great. We're all in this together. And so communication is key both ways. It's not the onset of the school year that we'd all hope for in this time. It's not a typical beginning, the reality that we're in. And we've worked hard to prepare to teach for engagement and for impact. We've done a lot of professional learning in building and with Clark County School District to learn about how to flip the instruction that we're so used to doing in a classroom with your children in front of us, that we can monitor and use all of our resources and all of the tools that we have in our teacher toolkits. So we're working to try to figure out how to make that happen in a virtual manner. You can also support us by helping your students to engage in the learning. So by talking to your students to help them prepare for virtual school, having them be on time for school. So with reading, with literacy, we always talk about what you do before, what you do during, and then what you do after. So before, getting them ready, making sure they're on time, that you're connected via Dojo, that you have the Zoom link, that you're accessing the teacher page on our virtual learning site. Make sure that they eat breakfast. That's a big deal. That gets them started for the day. Prepare a workplace ahead of time for them in your home. Have a quiet space that has very few distractions for them so that way they can attend to the learning. And make sure that they have the materials that they need. A plug and the power cord are really good things that we've all realized that we need to have readily accessible. Not one of those things that you would usually think of. Usually we think about notebooks and pencils and scissors and glue. Yes, we still want them to have those things available too, because we are planning for activities that are not on-screen activities. So the scissors and the glue and the notebooks and the pencils are definitely necessary. During lessons, just making sure that they're present, helping them to get logged in, encouraging focus and attention, having them stay on task and complete their work. That's a big deal. It's a big deal for them. and that will really help us out. And then afterwards, check in with the student. You know, did you finish your work? Let's look at it together. How did you feel about it? Did you get it turned in? Did you have any trouble? How can I help you, or how can I reach out to your teacher? So any questions or tech hiccups, the teaching team is always available via Dojo and our email.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Ms. Lindsay, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Just the most important thing is try to be patient. I know it's going to be very different in the beginning, but be patient. Everybody's got to show a lot of patience around this time.
Hopefully we all are getting better at that, both with ourselves and with others. Dr. Emmer, the next question is for you. What is the school's plan to meet the technology needs, such as devices and internet hotspots? When can parents start picking up devices?
So if there's like an opportunity for me to change my paycheck for like $1 every time I've had that question since summer, I'm in. And it's a great question because our kids definitely have to have those tools in order to access their work, of course. And so there's going to be some detailed information that will be shared tomorrow during virtual open house. But essentially this Friday, there's a schedule that's going to be for a distribution of student materials. And in those materials will be devices for kids in K through 5 that don't already have a CCSD issued device. Pre-K will have a distribution of materials a week from Friday, and that'll also be a time to make up if families aren't able to make it this Friday. Virtual hotspots have been an issue available for Clark County for quite some time, but I think they did a pretty thoughtful study this time to determine exactly which neighborhoods they need. So our incredible school counselor, along with our current and former remarkable school social workers, really did a deep dive into parent surveys, into information they had working throughout our communities, talking to other community leaders to really determine those, dare I say, hotspots that really need some internet hotspots. And the school district is going to be providing those spots throughout those neighborhoods so that kids will have connectivity with limited issue. As far as the devices that we have, I know there's been some significant concern about not having enough devices for our K through 5 kiddos. At Oglethorpe Avenue, we have the devices for kids, and those kids whose families are able to come through the distribution materials this Friday, you will leave with a device in hand.
Thank you, Dr. Emmer. That's a great update. Dr. Singh, the question is, I'm curious about the future of DLI. Can you speak to that?
Yes, DLI is one of our prized possessions at Oglethorpe Avenue Elementary School. We take pride in that beautiful program, which is designed to create bilingual, bicultural students. And I'm happy to inform you that our future of DLI is strong and bright. This year, we have added 4th grade. So 2 DLI classroom at 4th grade level, and we are fully staffed for next school year. So every classroom has a highly qualified teacher who has awesome plan to start teaching. Future, when it comes to the program's future, what I will share with the community members is that I had informal conversation with our middle school principal as well in regards to where the DLI program will go in the year when our students rise to 6th grade. So I want everybody to know that those conversations are happening behind the scenes. And when the right time comes, you will hear concrete plan exactly how our program will roll up and improve. Because at this point, we have all intentions to support this program and make it stronger than ever before. And I will tell you that our district is blessing the program, our school leadership is blessing the program, our teachers are highly trained to continue the program and make it better.
Thank you for that. As a follow-up question to that, Ms. Garcia, how will you, the teachers, work with the children in the DLI program?
Sure. Thank you for that question. And following up with Dr. Singh, just so everyone knows, our DLI program is strong as ever. And we have been working really hard to prepare our lessons. And our vision stays the same, providing bilingual, bicultural, multicultural education. And our model is not changing. So for more specific information, Parents can talk to the teachers tomorrow at the virtual open house, and they'll be able to get specific schedules and what that actual day will look like. But the model is not changing because we're virtual. Students will still have plenty of opportunities to practice both their native and target language through listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and they will have plenty of opportunities to work with their teacher in a whole group, a small group, and also to interact with their peers. So we feel really confident for the ability to provide that multilingual opportunity, both virtual and in person.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Just as a time check for everyone, we are at 5:25. So based on the questions that we've got, I think we're doing great. So parents and community members, stick with us. If you haven't heard your question yet, it should be coming. But it looks like we'll be fine in terms of getting to all of these. Dr. Singh and Dr. Emmerd, what are the plans for specials such as music, art, and PE during digital learning?
So I'll take that one if that's all right, Dr. Singh. I'm a huge, passionate supporter of our specials. I think for many of our students, that's the part they look forward to most about coming to school. They get exposed to things they might not normally be exposed to at home and different perspectives on the activities they're engaged in. I'm really excited to tell you that your child will participate in specials each day of virtual instruction, and the details on how that delivery will look will be shared very, very soon with you. But I am excited to say that we will have it covered where every student in grades K through 5 will have access to specials daily.
Thank you. Dr. Emmerd, the next question is around pods. And while it's written with a specific focus, I think we can understand sort of generally the question. The person says that they're facilitating a pod with learners across the grade levels, and their concern was about scheduling. So what are the plans for these situations, as childcare pods are the only feasible solution for working parents? It would be helpful to offer multiple time slots for synchronous learning, because having all of these children streaming at the same time may max out the Wi-Fi network at the location where those students are learning.
That's a pretty heavy question. And, if I'm being quite candid, a year ago, I had never heard the term pod before. But since, of course, we've been doing virtual learning, I think we've all have learned a whole lot about what it means to have an educational pod and what it means to have a micro school and those types of things. I do think it's worth noting that the pods and the micro schools, we really appreciate those community members, those hired assistants that are providing support for childcare during those times. We really appreciate that that's occurring for our students, because the pods and the micro schools, they're not an initiative of the school district. Our charge is to provide the virtual instruction. And one of the things that I think helps address that question, and I look forward to a follow-up if I'm not getting it on the head, but really what we see for someone leading a pod is that essentially they're providing childcare for the kids and providing supervision for the children while they're being taught by their teacher in a virtual setting. Each of the classes are a little bit different in terms of how they're set up, but there's intentional design so that students aren't forward facing to a computer all day long. So they'll have those times where they're engaged with their teacher, and then they'll pull away from their computer or from the immediate need for internet access, and then they'll be back to it. So the question that's being asked is a kind of a complex one. Instruction can be given at all grade levels simultaneously by someone monitoring a pod, from the sense that they're providing childcare. If they're looking at it from more of a micro school perspective, where they're thinking of themselves as more of an instructor, that's a little bit counterintuitive to providing the virtual instruction as is being delivered by the school district. But what I hear in that question isn't even that. I hear it's just more of a technology support concern. Are all the kids going to be on their devices at all times and bogging down someone's internet stability? And I think that's a legitimate question. Unfortunately, we don't have the control to say specifically, yes, your internet will be stable and we'll be fine. But what I can assure you is that there's enough variety in the way that kids are going to be grouped for their smaller groups throughout the day, that it shouldn't bog down a system. But each child will be getting the instruction from their teacher at the school.
Thank you for that. Ms. Russell, the next question is for you. What if I can't support my child with content? How would you help allay that parent's concern?
That is a very, very good question, and it's kind of a really good follow-up to to the discussion about managing a pod. So first, I would say to the parent, take a breath and breathe. And then I would say, contact your child's teacher, either by email or dojo with specific details of the content issue. And then teachers will provide direct instruction to your child, either by small group or in mini lessons. We will be conducting a small group and one-on-one instruction in the afternoon and during our extended learning time. And we will utilize support staff, including our Spectrum, ESOL, early intervention, and special education teams. And I want people to remember, parents remember, we are a triad team of teacher, parent, and student. We're trying to work together to navigate this new learning. And so I want to say, let us help you by allowing you to support your child at home, by being an encourager, taking care of just the necessary things as far as the breakfast and getting them logged in. And then we will provide the instruction, and then we will provide the remediation if you guys reach out to us and let us know.
Thank you, Ms. Russell. Our next question, Ms. Cece, is for you. How can the school support families during the pandemic and virtual learning time?
All right, thanks for asking this. So we have a stellar student support team, and we work together to help families get the help they need. So that's especially important in times like these when families are experiencing different needs than what they're used to, right? And so if your family needs support related to the pandemic while we're learning online, you can reach out to me, Ms. Tedford, or our new school social worker for this year, Fran Thompson. We're each available by phone, email, and Class Dojo, and our contact information is on the OAES virtual learning site. When one of us hears about a challenge that you're having, we work together to help find resources. And so those resources might be for food, they might be for school supplies, it might be for mental health support, or in some cases, financial assistance. Those are just a couple of things that we help families with. But we try to work together to help families find the resources they need. And we are also working on an additional way to seek help, which will be a virtual form that'll be on the virtual learning website. That's not live yet, but you can always reach us by phone, email, or Class Dojo. And we're in each of the Class Dojo classes.
Just like Scott wants to get paid $1 for every time he gets asked about Wi-Fi, we might need to start paying based on Dojo references, right? Like this, this forum brought to you by Dojo. Ms. CC, the next question is for you as well. How to connect with the teacher in case of an emergency?
Yeah, and so our teachers are working from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. And so they use Class Dojo during that time, along with email, and they may share other ways to get in touch, like a Google Voice number. So during the open house tomorrow, each teacher will share the ways that they prefer for communication and the different channels that you can use to get in touch with them. If you're having trouble with Zoom at a teacher scheduled time, email might not be the best way, but it really depends on the teacher. Maybe just some sort of form of contact, potentially Class Dojo, that they might also have access to on another device while they're with students on Zoom. Of course, if there's some sort of health or safety emergency, we encourage you to call 911 first before going to the teachers. You can always loop us as support staff in, or the teachers in later to keep us up to date with what's happening. But we want to make sure students get immediate support if that type of emergency occurs.
Right, Ms. CC, one more question for you, and then we'll let you off the hot seat. In terms of SEL planning, are there plans to support the emotional needs of children that may struggle during these times of limited peer interaction?
So yes, I've been really pleased with how our district and our school have really emphasized social emotional needs of students during this time. our school specifically has already been implementing the second step curriculum for the past couple of years that teaches SEL. And that's something we're going to be continuing to implement with more intentionality as we start with virtual learning this year. Each day we'll start with 30 minutes of morning meeting, which is dedicated to student interaction or social emotional learning. So that includes second step, our normal morning meetings, share time, things like that. We will also, as a school, be providing weekly space for staff members to support their own social emotional needs so that they can be their best selves to support their students. And of course, I, as a school counselor, support students in 3 main ways: classroom lessons, small groups, and individual student services. Just like I would in person, I'll be giving 1 classroom lesson a month per grade level. And that will be pre-recorded, so folks will have access to it at any time. Small groups, traditional small groups won't be happening the same way they would be in the school building because there's some privacy concerns, but I will be hosting some lunches by grade level, and I hope to host those in English and in Spanish so students can, pick their language of choice and have time to connect with their peers, just check in and say hello. And some of these might be around topics of interest for students, so it's a way for them to connect socially. In addition, I also will continue to have individual student appointments just like I would in person. Those will happen on Zoom, and students are able to schedule those appointments with me either through their teacher or grades 3 through 5 will be getting a survey directly in their email every single week to check in. And on that survey, they'll be able to request an appointment with me. Pre-K through 2nd grade, that survey will be either pushed out through Class Dojo or the classroom teachers. If you as a family member are interested in setting up an appointment for your student, you can either tell your child's teacher, they have the ability from the Clark County website to schedule directly with me, tell me through email, or reach me any of the other ways. If you would like some sort of ongoing mental health help and would like to have your student work with a counselor from the community, I'm also happy to set that up as well. So I'm just really hopeful that we as adults and students can all learn new ways to connect with other humans this year and make the best out of the situation where we're having to be creative with how we interact with each other.
Thank you so much. Those lunches sound like a lot of fun. Our next question is for Dr. Hanks. How will the IEP be implemented during virtual learning?
All right, well, I guess once a teacher, always a teacher, because I've got a little slideshow with mine in case some of you are visual learners instead of auditory. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. I think that I still have the rights. There we go. All right, so the IEPs absolutely will stay in place for students who already have them. We are currently working on the process as to how we will safely continue evaluations for students who are in the RTI process or who have had an outside evaluation. So know that we are committed to continuing that. We just have to ensure that we do it safely, and we're using the district's guidance on that as well. So the first thing, case managers, hopefully your child's case manager has already been in contact with you. We are conducting virtual learning plan meetings, and those will be completed by next Friday. During these meetings, the current IEP will be reviewed, and then a virtual learning plan will be proposed to you. So it'll already be drafted, but again, it's just a draft. The parent is a crucial member of the IEP team, and always we listen for their input. So we'll discuss it, and then it'll be finalized, and you'll be provided with a copy. So that's just an addendum to your child's IEP. Once we return to face-to-face learning, the IEP that was already in place will be ready to go. So all the services that were in there will resume like it was last year when we left off, or if there's anything new, that'll be implemented as well. Related services, so students who receive speech, occupational therapy, physical therapy, deaf, hard of hearing services, visual impairment, all of those services will be received virtually. There will be, there will be documentation of those in the virtual learning plan. So those people will be part of your students' meeting, or if for some reason they can't participate because we use physical therapists through RISA and they serve the whole district, so they're all over the place, they will be in touch with you and they will be part of that draft as well. Services such as one-to-one sessions, small groups, or general ed virtual classrooms are all a possibility. As Ms. CC referenced, there are some privacy concerns. So if your student will be in a small group with something like speech, we will get your permission. If you're not comfortable with that, your student will not participate in that. So that would be where there is an amendment to their IEP, but just for this virtual learning component. And then when it's necessary, asynchronous resources may also be utilized. Your student's case manager is super important during this. They're going to have a check-in with you weekly, and it's going to be for both of you. At the high school level, you know, it's appropriate for it just to be with the student, but you're critical to your students' learning right now. So that'll happen weekly. That'll be documented in your virtual learning plan meeting. As we want grace extended to us, we want to extend it to you too. So if you know, you've got a dentist appointment during your check-in, reach out to your case manager and change that. We're all human. We're all trying to make the best of, you know, as best we can right now and meet all of our students' needs. So just contact them. We're also going to have office hours. So we obviously can't check in, but they'll provide a Zoom link for you. So if you've been working independently with your student, or if you're catching up on work at night and you need to check in, you know that they'll be there those 2 set times. Obviously, you can reach out to them other times, but you know, just so if you have an anxious child, you can assure them, hey, we've got this office hour in 2 hours. Calm down. Let's go around and run outside during this, what's assigned as a break. We'll come back to it. Case managers will continue to monitor progress on goals and objectives. Now, there might be some that are inappropriate to monitor right now. If you have a younger child and they have a goal about turn taking or responding to doing their work within a certain amount of time, that's difficult to measure online. So those will be discussed as well. All right, and then key components. All students will follow the daily schedule provided by the school. They're Oglethorpe students first. No 2 students are the same, so no 2 plans will be the same. Again, it's still individualized. The district will ensure students are provided access to FATE during virtual instruction through these virtual learning plans. Each student's case manager, you've come up with the plan, they're going to help you make sure it's implemented. If something happens and you know you had OT as part of your IEP and the occupational therapist isn't in touch with you, reach out to your case manager, they'll help you. And then group and individual instruction will be designed to address your students' goals and objectives. Again, it's all about what we're going to tailor it to meet your students' needs, just like we would in the classroom, while also acknowledging that they're students and we're asking them to do a lot of sitting in front of technology. And we know that's not developmentally appropriate. So again, we're working with you. You were with them in March and April and May as we all limped through that together. So give your feedback about what worked and what didn't, because we're committed to partnering with you. If you have any concerns, my contact information's right there, or your student's case manager can give it to you. But again, please feel free to reach out if you need anything.
Thank you, Dr. Hanks. Ms. Hull, the next question is for you. What will gifted testing and services look like during virtual learning?
Thank you. I'd like to start with our virtual services for Spectrum students. So we're very excited that our school will continue with extended learning time, because that will be the time that we will serve our students for resource during Zoom groups. In addition, we'll also be collaborating with homeroom teachers. So we'll be doing that as follows. We'll have flexible reading groups for above grade level readers, starting in grades 1 all the way through 5th. We'll also provide extensions and enrichments for science and social studies. And then we'll have flexible math groups for high achieving math students in grades 2 through 4. And 5th grade has advanced math, and that is a fixed group that is determined by district criteria. This starting off the school year, we have put type 3 on hold. So that is our year-long independent projects. Some of our students were in the process of doing those last year when everything got shut down. So as soon as we're back face to face, we plan to finish those out before we start any new ones this year. Going on to testing, we were about to begin our spring round of gifted testing when the pandemic shut us down. So we have at least 30 students waiting to be tested. And at this point, we need to put that on hold until we're face-to-face, and we're waiting for further guidance from the district. Saying that, we are aware and we know that there's at least 20 first grade students that were supposed to be tested in kindergarten. And we would like to at least serve them during ELT and nurture them with problem solving and creative thinking skills, so that when we do get back into the building and can start testing, they will be prepared and ready for those tests. And then once we have tested them, then we will make it official and start our resource services for those students.
Thank you, Ms. Hull. Mr. Thompson, the next question is for you. Does the school offer any resources or support if my child is struggling to engage and participate with online learning?
Yes, currently we are in the process of making sure that I present the students on a weekly basis a social skill of the week. And then also I will be doing, just for an example, like a social skill such as on task. And I'll present that on task social skill, and I'll also show them what the on task mean, and I'll give them the steps to on task, just really being more proactive, because we do know that there will be some students that will struggle. And then I will also work closely with all the teachers and help support the teachers in supporting the children to come up with strategies, just common everyday strategies to help them and encourage them to stay on task and to have work completion. Also, I will have some time that we can speak one-on-one, and they can get in contact with me through email or through by ways of Dojo through the teacher, so that I work closely with the teacher with making sure that the kid or the student stay on track, and just give them. I also do my normal check-ins, random check-ins, and just check with the student and just give them just an encouraging prompts, and just to remind them of some of the social skills that they're already aware of that I've taught on last year. So each student has a different setup. Each student has a different way of communicating. So whatever way that student, however, which is easier for me to relate to them, I would use that to access them and make sure that they stay on task.
Thank you so much. We have just a few more questions before we hand it back to Dr. Singh for closing remarks. Nurse O, if you wouldn't mind, will you please speak to the school's plan pertaining to COVID-19?
I will, thank you. So I want to let everyone know all of our school nurses in the district have completed the Johns Hopkins course on contact tracing. When our kiddos come back into the building, we will be working with them on tracing and making sure that when they do get COVID, they know what to do and how to do it. And then we'll be working with the Department of Health and going off of their guidelines. That is the biggest thing. So as far as a COVID plan, I'd like to share with you, if I can, 1 second. We have a COVID distance plan. It pretty much gives you kind of a step-by-step kind of guide for parents to follow in the case that they have symptoms of COVID or if they've been in touch with somebody who does. And this is what it looks like. 1 second, so sorry. I am having trouble bringing that up. basically, I want everyone to know that it's different on a case-by-case basis. And it all, is dependent on the severity of the case of COVID, on how long you're going to stay in isolation or in quarantine. So I know it's a vague answer, but there's not a clear cut answer for everyone. Everyone is different in this respect. So let me try to get that up for you. I'm sorry, Claire.
Wouldn't be a Zoom meeting if there wasn't some sort of technology problem. It was me earlier in the morning. My audio was cutting out while I was trying to teach a class. It wasn't going well. So we can hear you. That's the best part.
Okay, good.
Sarah, I wonder if it would be helpful. Would it be easier if we moved on to another question? And if you're able to pull it up, we can circle back to you.
Sure, that sounds great.
Let's do that. You just give us the signal and we'll cut right back to you.
Will do. Thank you.
Ms. Russell, the next question is for you. Will you please speak to open house from the teacher's perspective?
So open house tomorrow is going to be so different from what we've had in the past. So we will not be able to share an ice cream, and we won't have all the kiddos coming in through the building, but it will be an opportunity for teachers, parents, and children to finally get to meet and to talk with one another. And so we have some things prepared for the parents. We want to get some information about your child, their likes, their dislikes, their strengths, maybe something that they struggle with, just some information about them so that, we can just, because we won't be able to really talk, individually. So some of us are going to have a Google form for you to fill out. Others might have something else that they will use to share with parents. And then also we will be showcasing our virtual learning site. We're going to explain exactly where you will go on that first day and how to get there. And so I am just super excited. It is a wonderful theme. We had lots of folks collaborating on this. And so I think it's just top notch. So we're excited about that and think it's going to really be engaging for the students. Next, we're going to talk about parent communication. So Class Dojo will be making sure that parents are able to get connected with that. We might talk about some additional school supplies that they may need. And then just any questions that parents might have. So I think it'll just be a good time to finally put a face with the parents and with the children. So that's what I'm excited about.
Thank you so much. I know we're looking forward to it in my household. Dr. Singh and Dr. Emmerd, how flexible will the schedule be for first grade?
So I'll take this one. So the schedule by each grade level is going to be detailed very specifically by the homeroom teachers during virtual open house tomorrow. And so I think that question really is applicable across all grade bands, but especially for our younger learners, there is a need, I think, for everyone to understand that our expertise is in working with children. You, as the parent of the kids that we get to serve, you're the expert for your individual child and children. And so we're going to defer oftentimes for those who are supervising your children during the day. And if that's you, of course, for your expertise about when they might need to take that break. We want them to be engaged. We want them to complete their work. Our goal, of course, is to provide the instruction that they need. But all that to say, there is a pause for the most important part of this, which is all the humanity and all of this. And the bigger picture lesson that many of our students are going to learn is that we do offer grace and flexibility to one another, whether we're old like me or we're young like the kids we get to serve. And so in answering that question as directly as possible, we will have a set schedule that'll be established. But like I noted earlier, at this time, we're looking at that 48-hour turnaround for when assignments would be due if they aren't able to be completed during the daytime. But we're not here as a gotcha. That's not what this is about. We went into this work because we love people, we love children, and we're going to do everything necessary to make sure that our kids get what they need. We don't get to know your kids the way that you do. But we do know children well, and we're here because we really want to offer the best we can for kids. I recognize that some of the things that we've highlighted before with some of the questions about pods and different things, we don't see anything as being specifically child care. What we're able to control is the instruction that we roll out to families and to children. And so we're really focusing on making the best education that we can possibly provide, given that none of us ever went to school to learn how to do education this way. And I would say that the teachers that I get to serve in this building, the administrators in this school district that I get to work under and with, have done a remarkable job given all the circumstances. And just like we have given grace to one another as professional educators, that grace absolutely goes to the students and families that we get to serve in this community. And we feel very fortunate to get to do that. So in short, we're very flexible. We're going to provide the structure with loving flexibility.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Dr. Singh, I'll hand it over to you. I think we've sort of touched on the element that was supposed to be our last question, but I know we only have a few minutes left. And in your closing remarks, if you could just maybe remind folks if they have follow-up questions, obviously maybe after the presentations tomorrow that we're a part of in the town hall, not the town hall, but in our open house. How would be the best way for us to share those questions with you? And then any closing remarks that you have.
Let me give this microphone to Nurse O for a moment. Would you like to finish your thought, Ms. Oler?
Sure, yes, I have it up right now. And this is pretty much the Clark County School District, the COVID-19. Can everybody see that? Okay. This is our decision guide. Basically, we are going off of this to try to help minimize the confusion, even though that seems impossible. If they have symptoms, what to do, and it kind of gives you a graph. This is going to be posted on the Clark County website, and if not, I'll make sure it's posted on the Oglethorpe website as well. But this kind of gives you a clear cut as we can get it for now, what action to take if you're having symptoms or you've been in contact with somebody who has COVID-19. So I will make sure this is posted on the Oglethorpe website for sure.
Thank you, Sarah, and thanks for pushing through the technology challenges. I know that's stressful when you know there's folks watching, so thank you for that.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Boyd, for your support for our school and supporting us with this first ever town hall. And panelists, I cannot thank you enough for putting together perfect thought to share with our parents, because at this time, parents are anxious. They want to know, what are we going to do to serve their children? And hearing you gives them the comfort they are looking for. So thank you for the response and the assurance that their children will be okay in your care. I know virtual learning is not ideal, but one thing I can tell you, virtual learning sites are ideal. They are out of the world, and once you will get to see it tomorrow morning, you will be blown away. They are beautifully organized and teachers are excited about rolling it out. So I am looking forward to that. Now, I heard this question that parents are anxious about how will they be able to help their children. And I'm going to steal Ms. Russell's words. Parents, breathe. We got this. We have the learning plan covered, and we will make sure your children get what they need. All you need to do, or your child care provider need to do, is make sure the children are on their work desk and ready to work. Rest, we have it under control. Beyond that, follow-up questions, please, 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 parents, I want you to know this, that we are listening. We listen to all your feedback. Sometimes it may appear that we are not responding, but we are working hard to put all your suggestions in actionable phase so that we are ready to serve your children on September 8th. So if you have any other question, we are about to send out another round of survey, which will be pushed out through your child's homeroom teacher. And once you get those surveys, please submit your follow-up questions and we will be happy to answer. And I am planning to communicate with all of you weekly. So stay tuned for that information coming your way as well. But within a week, I will answer all your questions, all your follow-up questions. Other than that, I will tell you, as you are anxious about this school year, so are we. And together, we will all work hard and our children will be victorious. And that's what I'm confident about. So I want you to walk away knowing that we have a plan and will serve your children. So at this point, in behalf of our district leaders, Clark County Superintendent and other leaders at the district office, our local school teachers and staff, thank you. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, parents. Thank you, community members. We are here to serve you and we are here to partner with you. Enjoy your evening. Good night.